Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Environmental Services Committee meeting to order. Do we have any pecuniary interest?
None known.
I have none. See no delegation. We've circulated the prior meeting minutes at our last council meeting. They've been approved. Business arising from minutes. Does that go to our task list? Is that
Basically.
kind of connected? Yeah. Got a couple items there ongoing.
So we have the water and wastewater bylaw review, guidelines for meter replacement upon testing, the digester project. I'm expecting to hear from them in the next couple of days about what they're going to do, but I'm not sure what the delay is there now, but they tell me that we should hear from them in a couple of days. So. And then the RFP that Jay's working on to review our water, wastewater, and stormwater management infrastructure. We've engaged BM Ross to modify our RFP, and we're hoping to have that by the end of the month, so we can send it out to get work going on that.
So I spoke to Andrew from BM Ross yesterday, and he confirmed that they should build that and ready to send out before the end of the month. He's coming January 18th. He's gonna come to the plant so we can review a whole bunch of drawings, documents, tour the village so he can see it firsthand, just to make sure that
That's good.
everything that should be in it is gonna be in it, and then we're gonna discuss timelines and to make sure that we give all the potential bidders time to get it in bids, so we don't have the same thing that happened last time, that nobody bids because of the time frames.
That was gonna be my
Short.
question, just, did you have a timeline, but you guys are
Basically,
gonna sort that out.
we're gonna sort it out for a definite, but from the first RFP, all the people I spoke to that we had asked to bid on it, they were all talking, 4 to 6 month time period to get a final report to us, so. Andrew's on the same page with that kind of timeline, so.
Okay.
The key thing is to get it out and then, get people interested in it, so. At least get bidding on it, like once it's bid on, then it's just a matter of trying to get the work back to us, but just to know that people actually are, bidding on it's gonna be a big thing.
Okay, and so move on to health and safety inspection sheets. We seem to have our ongoing concerns due to the building condition. Hope to deal with in the near future. Is there any questions on those?
No, none from me. I'm saying anything that's new.
Move to receive and file those.
Seconded.
Okay, new business, we have one item, the environmental service monthly report for November and December. Want to take us through that,
Yeah.
please?
Just an update for the digester project. There's been emails back and forth between the CAO, myself, Matt, and different contractors about trying to get the project back on the go. So as Jim said, hopefully in the next few days, we'll have some definite answers from the engineer and the contractor. Again, the roof work, that's all on hold until we can get the digester project completed. So staffing at the plant right now, we're currently at 4 full-time staff members. The part-time person that was working for us, that contract's ended, so we're back down to the normal 4 people. Training, all the staff are doing the required training to maintain their licenses and gain certification. I got notified today the one operator did pass their certification, so they're booked to write a couple more tests coming up, so
Okay.
that's a good thing. And again, I've been encouraging all the staff to try to, when they do pick their training, pick stuff that's gonna be beneficial to their improving skills that they may be a little weak on. So try to get them more well-rounded in their knowledge base. And then as far as health and safety training, we're just following the village matrix that's done through the health and safety coordinator. Certifications, all the staff are certified to meet the regulations. Treatment plant for interior, again, we continue to track all our work orders and maintenance through the mesh work order system. We do have one major operational item that's come up, and that's our sludge recirc pump. The bearings have failed on it. It is on a capital item, so we had the contractor in yesterday to look at it. They're looking into whether or not they can get parts to rebuild it. If we can rebuild it, we're gonna go with that option. If it's not possible to rebuild, then we're gonna have to readdress that with a replacement unit, which is about 3 times the cost. So
It's really
it's
33,000.
about $33,000 to replace it. We're hoping we can rebuild it for approximately 10 to 13. A lot of it's going to depend on whether or not we can get a new impeller if we need one. They won't know that until it's all torn apart and measured up, but hopefully we don't, and then it'll be a substantially cheaper fix.
Gee, what goes on, like, so this pump is out of service right now.
We have 2 pumps, there's a redundant pump, so we're required in the ECA to have the 2, like most of our equipment has a redundant spare. That doesn't give us the option of just leaving one not running. Like, we are supposed to have two pumps all the time, so when one fails, we continue. Just because one fails doesn't mean we can let it go for a year, because if the second one fails, now we're out of compliance. So the whole part of everything's kind of redundant for a purpose, so we don't get into a situation that we can't fully operate the plant.
So if you find out, so you're waiting to find out if they can get the part.
Yeah.
And if they can't get the part, are you gonna need to come forward for an early approval before budget to
Well,
go forward with this?
we
Oh,
put in the
sorry.
budget.
I'm thinking, my fault. I
The
said
original
March.
budget had, like, the original
Yeah.
request that we talked about the other
Yeah.
night was for the replacement. I believe the full replacement was in that original one. And then we talked about, there's other options, to get that.
I got confused with their other budget, sorry.
Yeah, to get it in line with where council want to see that number.
Mhm.
There's an option, but if that option doesn't work or something fails, then we're gonna have to go to reserves or look at another option.
I think there was discussion too about the timeline of replacing the product and how long it would last versus the timeline of the repair, and then the cost balance.
Yeah, like a
benefit.
return on.
Yeah,
investment.
there was
If we
discussion.
spend more now, will we get more value out of it long term?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, and you're always going, because the volute, so the main part of the pump, the body of the pump, it's metal. All the abrasive material that goes through it wears over time. So it's continually wearing. So even though we rebuild it, it's still partially worn out. So yes, you're putting less money into it to get maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years out of it. And then eventually you're gonna have to spend a larger amount. Again, we get into that situation where if we spend the higher value to get a brand new pump and get, another 20-year life span out of that pump. But in order to do that, it's gonna affect our bottom line this year.
let me ask a question, like layman's terms, is it like appliances now that used to be able to get 20 years out of a fridge? And now if you get 5 years out of a fridge, is it still that type of situation?
No, are the quality of the equipment to the standards that were 20 years ago? I'm gonna say no. A lot of the material, in my opinion, a lot of the materials, metals, they don't have as good a quality as they used to. Is it as bad as appliances? No, instead of 20 or 25 years, you may get 15 or 20 years, so.
Okay.
It isn't as good as it used to be, but it's not near that level with more consumer products. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just saying people would sometimes tell you you're better off to repair an older product because the new products don't last as long. So that I was just
Yeah,
trying to figure that out.
No, I guess one of the things we could look at the heat exchanger that was in the plant, the original one lasted 20 years. Before I started, they put in a new one. We only got 5 years out of it.
Yeah.
So then when we had to replace this one, we actually had a custom made stainless steel one put in. Plan is it's gonna last 25 or 30 years, but
That's why I'd like to just investigate the repair. Like,
yeah.
you don't want to just keep band-aiding stuff, but if our older original parts will last longer repaired than something brand new, just as long as that's
And
investigated.
the main thing will be whether or not they can, like, they took all the information down off the pumps. Hope next day or two, we'll get a response back from whether or not they can even source the parts.
Yeah.
A lot of these older pieces of equipment, if we had to get a custom made impeller, it would cost more than just buying a new pump.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's whether or not there's anything available we can rebuild it with. But if we do not need an impeller, just the shafts, the bearings, it'll be substantially cheaper and, we could possibly get 10 years out of it. I would say 5 to be a safe number. You could go longer. Because even now, the piece that's in there is far over its typical life expectancy. We're going on 25 to 30 years now, so it's done very well. The administration building, that's the health and safety issues that have been ongoing and like I mentioned, discussed and trying to get those rectified and move forward with that project, that building project. The one thing I would ask for is, we do have the building committee that was put together. We haven't met in a while, and I would like to try to keep those building committee meetings going forward. We kind of left it at where we were gonna decide or who we were gonna decide to go with as far as a recommendation to council is for the engineering side of it. We have requested one more engineering firm to, give us a number on doing that engineering. We still haven't received anything from them, so.
Did they give you a timeline?
2 days.
Oh.
So,
2 days from today?
Yeah,
Oh.
he sent the email late last night, so you should have it. 2
So
days.
end of the week?
Yeah.
Okay,
so I was hoping to have it before the holidays.
yeah.
And then Jim confirmed the other day, I guess, he responded back with why they hadn't sent something in, so. I really would like to keep that moving forward if we can, so, we need that planning part of it to really go ahead with any other, movement on that, so. And then again, I just want to express to, to the committee and to recommend, for council that, we really do have to try to keep this going because there are some serious health and safety concerns. And they've been around for quite a while, which could potentially cause issues for us down the road if we don't get them rectified, if something ever would happen. Moving on to the exterior of the plan, again, all the work orders getting done and recorded into our mesh system. We don't have any major deficiencies right now, other than anything that is needed at the plant's been added to the capital budget. So it's all being captured in the budget. Just briefly touching on the RFP for the services. Again, spoke to the engineer. They're coming to see me and they're hoping to have this all ready to go out for tender at the end of the month. inspection. We didn't have any inspections for this period. Wastewater infrastructure, we've received our new combined linear infrastructure ECA for the collection system in the village. And I just responded yesterday for the same ECL for the storm. So there's a few things that we're gonna have to do and a substantial amount of work that's gonna be part of it getting ready. Going forward, we have to do more annual reports. There's some engineering studies that are gonna have to be done in order to meet the compliance for these new ECAs by the end of this year. So going forward, we do have quite a bit more work that we never had to do in the past. Drinking water, currently all the assets are good. We did have a main break reported over the holidays. That was all taken care of very quickly. The contractor's gonna try to repair the sidewalk. We're supposed to have some weather over the next week and a bit. So we're gonna try to get the concrete sidewalk back in for the rest of the winter. So
So that's there.
on there, yeah, or Lake Street in front of the DLA.
Right there.
If the weather turns bad and we can't do it, then we're probably gonna put down gold patch for the sidewalk. And it'll be just temporary till spring, but we're gonna try to make it, finish concrete before the end of this week, hopefully. Then it's just a touch St. Clair Street. Everyone's aware we've had a meeting since November and December, and that's all moving forward as far as the St. Clair Street project. Had no inspections for the water side. Stormwater infrastructure. The only thing to really note that's new is the new ECL that I received this week. I received the final draft after going back and forth a few times. So I've emailed them saying that they made all the requested changes that I asked for.
Can you spell out ECL?
Yeah, it's so it's the environmental compliance approval.
Thank you. Just for anybody that would
Yeah,
know.
so it's combined linear infrastructure environmental compliance approval is what it all stands for. So yeah, basically they combined all the piping in the ground that came in. There's a whole new requirement for doing work on our linear infrastructure. It also, in some ways, makes things far more easier for us to get work done, to make changes. There's some good points and some bad points to it. So there's more work involved, but it can make it easier for us trying to get changes made, or if we have to do certain repairs. They've allowed us to be able to just go do that without seeking actual specific approvals for certain things. The catch basins, just an ongoing list of anything that public works or environmental services staff comes across. So we have an ongoing list, and then we'll fix them in the spring unless it's deemed to be an emergency type fix, and then we'll obviously have to do it over the winter. But anything that can wait until spring, we're gonna wait until spring, just get a better fix. It's typically cheaper. The only other thing would be, we've spoke about it before, is the cooling system for the diesel pump number 2 at Bayview has some issues, and I'm working with a few different manufacturers to try to come up with an option for repairing that, and that'll be on the village budget in March. We'll do that, look at that, so it'll be part of that budget. Vehicles and equipment, all the vehicles and equipment we have are in good safe working condition. Health and safety, Federal Bridge Corporation updates. I know the chair of the Joint Health and Safety Committee had sent out a request for their regular report on the safety issues with concerns with the bridge. I haven't seen that, as far as the actual plant area goes, they've been doing the fences are up, they've been maintaining it the way we agreed upon, so it's just a matter of keeping those monthly reports coming into the village, so we know what we've been working on. Everything else is repeat items on the health and safety officers. Security, I was contacted by the OPP to do the security inspections, I guess, audits. So they were actually in this week and finalized that, so I have the paperwork for that. I'll submit it to Jim. There was no, they didn't find anything that they have recommendations for or any concerns, so we're good as far as security goes. Capital budget, the 2023 capital budget has been worked on and revised multiple times, and we've submitted it for review, and we have a council meeting tonight regarding that. So community feedback, we haven't had any community feedback that's been submitted to myself or my staff, and we don't have any upcoming events.
Great, thank you, Jay. Any questions?
Nothing.
Very thorough as usual. Move to receive and file the committee report.
Seconded.
Move on to financial statements. We're gonna tear this all apart tonight anyhow, so. It's our budget night.
Yeah, this is just last year. Right?
Yeah.
And it's, again,
It's
Tina's
already been.
Tina's working on the last bills.
Yep.
Which could take another 4 to 6 weeks or something, with stuff still coming in to finish off 2022. So just advise that the numbers shows the end of December, but it's not complete.
Any questions on any of that?
No.
Receive and file those two.
Seconded.
Is there anything else? Okay. Move for adjournment.